Have you been experiencing delays or latency while recording in your DAW? Well, you may need to adjust your buffer size. So what is a good buffer size for recording? Hey, I'm Reagan Ram with OrpheusAudioAcademy.com, helping you make better music and grow your fan base online. Now, what is a good buffer size for recording? Before we dive into that though, what exactly is a buffer? What is buffer size? Well, buffer size determines how fast your computer processor can handle the input and output of information. If your buffer size is lower, it can handle information very quickly, but it comes at the expense of a lot of processing power on the part of your computer. It takes up more system resources and is more strenuous on your computer processor. So if you want to use fewer system resources, then you can increase your buffer size. But the downside of that then is that it handles information much slower. So with that in mind, then how do you adjust buffer size? Right now, every DAW is different, but you're probably going to have some kind of settings in your preferences. Here I am in Logic. If I just click on the Logic Pro up here and go to Preferences and then Audio, then I see here in the Audio section the ability to change the buffer size right here. So IO buffer size, and here you can change the size of your buffer. And so it goes down to 32 and all up to 1024 samples. So pretty simple. So with that in mind then, what buffer settings should you use and when? Well, again, this comes down to what task you are wanting your computer to perform for you while you are working on your track. So for example, when you're recording, you're going to want to avoid latency. You're not going to want a lot of delay. You want things to happen very quickly. Otherwise, if you have high latency when you're trying to record, when you're monitoring yourself, right, in your headphones and you're recording, it's going to sound delayed. It's going to throw you off. You're not going to be able to record vocals really well because if you've ever tried to speak while hearing yourself back at a delay, you start
talking like a drunk person.
And you don't want that when you're singing. So when recording, shoot for a buffer size of maybe 128 or 256 at the max. But when you're mixing or mastering, the latency doesn't really matter because everything has already been recorded. It's already been printed into your DAW. So now you just need your computer to handle all the plugins and all the processing you're doing after the fact. So for that, you're going to want a high buffer size. So probably set it to the max then of 1024. So that you can get the most out of your computer processing. Now, what if you're recording MIDI, like you're just using your keyboard to input different notes or different sections that you're playing? Well, for that, you can actually get away with a really low buffer size. So you can use like 32 or even 64 samples so you can play your notes with no latency. Also, real quick, if you're wondering, buffer size does not affect audio quality, so you don't need to worry about that at all when you're setting your buffer size. Now, setting your buffer size correctly is only one part of optimizing your DAW on your computer so that it performs optimally while you are working on a track. So if you keep getting that dreaded system overload error, then I recommend you check out my video over here, which will walk you through all the different things that you can do to optimize your system so that you reduce that system overload when you're working on a track inside of Logic or whatever DAW you're using. Otherwise, be sure to hit like if you found this video helpful and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new tutorials I release on this channel like this one. Otherwise, have an awesome day and I'll see you in a future video.